Hi everyone, my name is Dana Wakefield and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be taking you through 5 lessons that I learned from owning a hair salon. Hopefully this gives you some insight and perspective into what it's like owning a business, so it can give you some good ideas on whether or not this is something that you want to venture into in the future. Hi, I'm Dana and I want to talk to you a little bit about my first lesson that I learned after owning a hair salon. And what I'm going to say is it is self-awareness. Understanding your feelings, thoughts, and emotions, and being conscious of how you impact others, and recognizing your strengths and also your weaknesses as a person. And knowing those things will definitely help you as you move into deciding whether or not you want to own a business, especially a hair salon. So I kind of hope this gives you some perspective and some insight to this, because I wasn't aware of those things. I wasn't aware of the type of person that I was leading into a position of a business owner. It made it more difficult for me. So I guess that's what I'm saying, is just understanding who you are and how you line up and how you work with others will help you on your journey of building a business. So you heard about lesson 1 about self-awareness. Lesson 2 is about learning about your lease. So when you go to either purchase a hair salon that's from a new build, or whether it's purchasing a unit that already is an established business, you need to go over your lease agreement. This is something that I had to sort of learn the hard way. There's a lot of terms and conditions within a lease and a lot of lawyer jargon. So that can be very difficult to understand and decode, just because that's a difficult thing to understand. I swear they do it that way to make you go, oh my gosh, like, why don't I know this? I need a lawyer and let's spend thousands of dollars. But anyways, go and spend the money, get a lawyer to break down your lease. Because I found within my lease, when I had a new owner who bought the building, he created a new lease. And in that new lease, he made me pay for the air conditioning repairs, some of the stuff within the building, because it was either, I guess the air conditioner was cooling the inside of the shop, and whatever was going on in the shop, because it was, that's what it was. Okay, so it was a hot water tank. So there was a hot water tank that was in the shop that was old and it exploded, and then I had to pay for it to get replaced. So you would think that that's something that would be paid for by the person that owns the building. No, because it was in my unit and it was within the lease. I ended up having to pay for that, and that was very expensive. So just make sure you know all that stuff, because that can be annoying to deal with if you don't know what you're doing. And another thing, so when you have a lease, so whether or not you buy a salon or you're buying an established salon, I'm sure you're still going to want to make some changes. Or if you are buying a unit that is just kind of raw and bare bones, and then you need to build it out and then design it and decorate it to suit the salon, you're spending a lot of money out of your own pocket to make it look a certain way. So I'm hoping that obviously when you have a salon that you're going to, eventually sell it at some point and get that value back. But if you have to leave, you will be losing out on a lot of money when you realize that you spent $30,000 and you have to leave the shop. And all the stuff that you've done structurally, all the paint, all the tile work, all the bathroom things, I'm sure there's some stuff you can rip out, but a lot of the time you're going to be spending a lot of that money and not really getting that back, unless you obviously sell your business. So really at the end of the day, I hope this kind of helped you grasp the leasing part, because I really want you to obviously have a good experience with your business venture when it comes to owning a hair salon. But at the end of the day, you just need to know all the things that go into it. So lesson 3 is it can be like your second home. So when I finally bought my mom's hair salon, I realized fairly quickly just how much time and energy I put into maintaining, cleaning, fixing, decorating, all the things within the business, just as much as I do with my own house. So I always like sharing with people about the fact that it can be double the work. So just remember that when you buy a business, it could even be a secondary vacation home or place that you go to. There's always things that you need to do when it comes to maintaining them. And if you're somebody that's a busy person and you got lots of kids, or you have things or obligations that are pulling you away, having a second place that you have to maintain can be quite straining and quite stressful, to say the least. I felt it very stressful because it seemed like there was always some issue going on at the shop. There was always something breaking. There was always something needing to be fixed. There was always product and supplies needing to be restocked. I was always having to be cleaning. Cleaning's a big one because, you're getting a lot of traffic from clients coming in and staff and weather changes and stuff like that. So it gets dirty really quickly. So yes, cleaning it's a lot. So we do this all the time. If we could pay somebody to come every week and clean our bathrooms and wash our floors and clean out our fridge, that would be amazing. But sometimes it's on us because we just can't afford to pay for someone to do that for us. So at the end of the day, just really think out about what this shop means to you and how you value your time, because you are going to, in the beginning, spend a lot of your time doing a lot of the things to maintain it, treating it like a second home. This Gabe Bolt guy, I kind of follow him on YouTube, and he often says, how much of your time are you willing to trade for money? And I'm learning more and more that I want more of my time. So if this is something that you want to do, you just really have to consider all of what goes into it and what's involved and how much time you're spending on your business. What's your time worth to you? So the 4th lesson I want to talk to you guys about is government and taxes. I am just about to go into an appointment right now, but I just wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about this because it's very important when it comes to business, because it can get very expensive if you don't know what you're doing. So firstly, I'd like to advise that you get a good accountant and a good bookkeeper, because they need to make sure that they're tracking your budget and that you're not overspending in certain areas, and that you're also setting aside money to give back to the government when your taxes are due. One example that I have that I learned the hard way about was actually because I live in Canada. There's GST and PST. So we pay taxes on the services and product that we sell in a hair salon. And they ended up combining it and calling it HST. So every 3 months, I all of a sudden started getting this insanely massive bill of like $3,000 or $4,000 or $5,000 that I would end up having to owe for the government. And I did not set enough money aside to make sure that I was paying for those bills. So, this is just an experience. Obviously it was new to me, but still, it's good to know these things ahead of time so you're not getting stuck. So lesson number 4, just make sure you know what you're doing and talk to the right people so you do not get stuck in those situations where it ends up costing you a lot of money. So lesson 5 is going to be about reps and suppliers that will be coming into your shop. Oftentimes they'll do cold calls where they kind of walk in. it's not like they made an appointment, but they'll come and they'll start talking to you. And obviously they're in sales. They're going to be selling you their products. And some of these products are great. Like I worked with Paul Mitchell for a number of years, and I actually had a salon that was called a focus salon. They had different levels. So there was like a signature salon, I was a focus salon, and then so on and so forth. So you get different perks. I get, some deals on some of the Paul Mitchell products. When I spent a certain amount, I would also receive a lot of free education, which was kind of nice. So then people would come in and teach us about their products and how to use them, their color line, some of their hairstyling products, shampoos, conditioners, etc. And it was awesome. However, another example that can be a negative when it comes to this kind of stuff is you can kind of get excited when you're in this new world of owning a business and you want it to be successful. So you want to use the best products, and that's great and everything. But at the end of the day, it's your money on the shelf. And if it's not being purchased by customers or clients, it's just sitting there and it's not making you any money. An example that I have of this, when I really think about, is this a good thing? There is good things, but what I am saying is that, there is some downsides to it as well. Like you can get caught up. But for example, I had a friend who she bought a salon, and then she also opened up a spa on the one side, and she decided that she wanted to use a certain product line. But in order to do that, she actually had to order in a certain amount. I think she had to spend about $5,000 just building out this product line before she could even bring it into her salon. So there's different things in order to be able to do that, which is fine. But on top of that, she actually had to be spending a certain amount. I think it was like $300 or $400 every month just to keep that product line in her salon. So if you're again not selling the product, you're not making the money, and it's sitting on the shelf. And now on top of it, now you're actually paying a monthly fee just to carry that product line. So just make sure that you look at the different companies that you might want to work with, and then just really see the details. Okay, what is this going to cost me? How much do I have to spend every month? There's obviously some amazing product lines out there. Like I've absolutely loved Paul Mitchell. I still use Paul Mitchell. But there's perks. I felt like there was more perks with Paul Mitchell than not, but that's not for everybody. So I hope that all of this information really does help you. I really want you guys to think through who you are as a person and then carry some of these lessons through. And I feel like they're a bit odd or obscure at the same time. Like I don't feel like a lot of these things are things that, are generally things that maybe if you were listening to a prior video, maybe you're saying these kinds of things because, they might be talking about other dynamics of owning a business or should you own a business. But these are personally things that I ran into when I owned a hair salon, and it made me change my mind about owning a hair salon. And in another video, I want to go over why I work from home. So in my next video, maybe that's something that I'll talk about, because you need to do what works for you. And what works for me is working from home. I've become more self-aware, and it was through these experiences of owning a hair salon that it's led me to this point in my life. I'm going to give you more of a backstory, but I really, really hope that this gives you some insight into why I don't own a business. I know the first lesson, I have to say, being more self-aware was a little bit down and dreary, but at the end of the day, you really got to think about it. So I hope this brings you some good value and makes you decide or gives you a better perspective so you can make a better decision for yourself in your future and your path and your business prospects. So bye.